we're going to race. So, welcome to this episode of Heartbreak Garage, and we're working on a friend's car. But first, let me just say, Hugo is feeling much better. He's had the all clear by the vets, and you're ready to go, aren't you, Pop? Oh, yeah. What a good man. So, yeah. So, I've made the fire. It was my night shift, so I'm off for 3 days now. So, the wife's in work, so I've made the fire. Been watching an idiot on telly. So, here is the vehicle in question. My mate Tim's Discovery. And failed the old MOT. So, we've got a steering drag bar for the front. It's the one that mounts on the steering dampener as well. And we've got a new to us steering box. It's not new, but it's new to us, and it doesn't look like it's been leaking that much, so that's good. And we're going to get them fitted to this. And to make my life better, I've got some new 20-ton jacks, and I chose these 20-ton jacks because they got handles on to move them, so that's handy. I've got my go bag, my toolkit, my impact, Racing Retro's little sitting on stool toolbox, and a lying down mat to make life even better than what it is now. So yeah, that's a real treat that is to have. So if it don't fit, don't force it, and let's crack on. Right, so welcome to the delightful underneath of this disco, and what we've got going on is the steering boxes up there, which we need to change, but we also need to change this. So what we got on the back is we've got a track bar, which is adjustable for your towing and tow out your tracking. We've got a panhard rod, which runs from the chassis there down to the front axle there, which keeps the axle in a centralised position. And we've also got the front drag link, which goes from the steering box down to that front hub. In the middle of it, there's a steering dampener, so if you've got one of these and it's getting speed wobble and banging you all over the road, it can be that's causing the issue. So you put the input in at the steering wheel, it travels down to the steering box, which then makes this go back and two, and it goes back and two and acts on that side of the hub, which then that side, the passenger side, then acts on the track bar, which then turns the right hand side, so it all works in unison. So that's all marvellous. So drag link, panhard rod, track bar, and that's how they work. So right, realistically, the only thing this does is centres a steering wheel and make sure it's the same count of turns from left to right when you're putting your input in. It has nothing to do with the track of the vehicle or driving it down the road. It just the adjustment on that end is to make sure that your steering wheel is in the correct position and it's equal on both sides. Right, so I've got the dampener unbolted and I got the nut off that end and off that end. Basically the dampener is just a shock absorber, and you can see the oil dripping off the end there where it's pouring out of that power steering box. So that definitely is changing, and we can see the yellow mark on this joint off the MOT tester. So I'll just set you up. Right. Right, there's one off. Get this one off. That's that out of the way. So that's going to make life easier. We won't put that back on until we've done the steering box. I know this was an original Landrover one as well, because it's got 18mm nuts on it. The aftermarket ones are 19mm, so that's done really, really well, to be fair. Right, so I've just cracked the 24mm off for the panhard rod, but there's something I must do which is very important. Mrs. Blackhands is coming back from work, so it is time to light the fire. So with the fire lit, I'll put some coal on and we're back outside. Marvellous. And Hugo. Good boy. go back to sleep. So I've got down to the steering box, and because we're all free to make mistakes and be utter idiots, I've just realised that that steering box is a 300 TDI one, not a td5 one, which is an oversight on my part because I was the one that picked it up, but I didn't really check it. I just chucked it in the back of the van and got going. So now I need to procure another steering box, but nevertheless we're going to carry on and we'll get this steering box off at least and some forward progress. So that's just marvellous. Heartbreak at Heartbreak Garage, the wrong steering box. Right then, so with all the covers off, we can see the infamous 5-cylinder td5. They've got a bad reputation off a lot of people, and to be honest with you, it's a bit uncalled for. I really like them. I think they're a mega good engine, and I know everyone, oh, the head gaskets go and they crack heads. Well, not really, they're not that bad. But what we need to do is get down here to the top of the power steering box so we can get the coupling to the steering column off, and we can get the hydraulic pipes off. So that's what I'm going to do next. So I've removed the battery. I'm taking the ECU out to get this box out so I can get down there a bit easier. And the funny thing about the TD5s, that the injectors are in the cylinder head and they're in oil, and then there's the plug there, and the oil manages to get down that plug all the way down the wiring loom, back up the wiring loom to here, and actually if we take this plug off, look at that. So we'll be cleaning all that out and cleaning that out. There's not a lot you can do to stop this. It just happens. It's just one of them funny things. But thought I'd just, you know, good that, innit? Nice work, Landrover. Thanks for doing that. So with it off, we can see the gravity of the situation. I'll have to take this ECU inside, open it up and clean it out, because we don't want that causing us any issues in the future. So with the battery tray ECU holder thing removed and the little side, we can see now we're getting close to the prize, which is the steering box down there, and it's got 2 pipes going to it, a high pressure pipe and a return pipe, and then the steering column is still on it, so we need to get that off. So we're going to clip some cable ties and get down in there and wrestle it off. It's held on by 4 15mm long bolts that go all the way through the chassis, so let's do that then. So with cable ties cut, you can see down there, there's the 10mm, and that holds a retainer plate that keeps 2 pipes in that have got a couple of O-rings on them that seal onto there, and then just behind that up there is the universal joint that allows the the circular motion of the steering wheel to go in and then get transferred into the side to side off the drag link on the bottom. Right then, right. Oh, get underneath. I don't know whether you can see. Can you see? I've got the 3 bolts out there, and one is interfering with the anti-roll bar, but I've got the pipes out, I've got the steering column loose, so we just got to get that one. Now I could take the anti-roll bar off, but I ain't going to do that, so I'm just going to back it out with an open end spanner bit by bit until there's enough clearance for it to just pop off, and then the bolt can stay in there until I get the new one, and then I'll just slide it back on again, because I ain't got time to be taking anti-roll bars off unnecessarily unless it's vitally important. But I tell you one thing, those bolts were more stubborn than my daughter and wife combined. That was hard work just getting them loosened off, so let's get the rest of it done. Right, so with all the bolts out and the steering column off, it should just fall out, he says. I've got this the panhard rod wedged down with a piece of tube rather than undoing it, which is handy. clips come ajar. Right, so So now we can see the steering box in question, which I've pulled out, and it's leaking from where the seal on the bottom there, where the pitman arm goes in. So that's just great. But, so there's the hole we got it out of. There's the hole it's come out of, and that's just about enough for me today. I need to find another steering box. So I'll come back to you shortly. So the steering box is off. And as you can see, although that is a steering box, it isn't the same as this steering box. Same principle, just different. So what's different? Well, the pitman arm is different because that one's bent and that one's straight. It hasn't got the pipe running around the side onto the front and bits and bobs. So yeah, it's vastly different. It's not going to work for what we want, so I'm going to have to find another one. So that could bring this video to an end. If it don't fit, don't force it. Right, so this is the ECU that had the oil in off the Discovery, and we're going to take it apart to see whether any of that oil has got inside. So now we took the ECU apart and we saw oil in the red plug, which is the engine loom plug, but upon stripping it there's hardly any oil in it, and what was in it I've now cleaned out, so it was good to go. But we haven't got x-ray vision, so we wouldn't have known that without taking it apart. And I don't want my friend to break down on the side of the road, so now it's 100%. We can put it back together with some Delco high temperature sealant to keep the water out and be good as new. Right, so that is the ECU all sorted out for the td5 and my friends, and just got to find a steering box for it now. So from me and Sleepy Hugo, if it don't fit, don't force it.